Good morning po sa lahat ng mga kadete nationwide from Luzon, Visayas, and Mindanao. Sa lahat po ng mga estudyante natin under Criminal Law Book 2, welcome and welcome po sa pinakalast po na episode, pinakalast na part po sa discussion natin sa Criminal Law Book 2. Hindi po bero ang Criminal Law Book 2 mga kadete, considering na ito po yung subject na may pinakamaraming contents po based on the table of specification. Sa lahat po na mag-take ng board examination, good luck, God bless po sa lahat. Huwag kalimutan, tiwala sa Diyos, tiwala sa sarili. Yun po ang susi. Kailanganin po natin yung pananampalataya po natin sa taas. Pero kung ano mang mangyari mga kadete sa lahat na mag-take ng board examination kung ano man yung outcome sa board examination, always give gratitude and praises to God. God is the owner of everything. Okay? So wag po kayong masyadong madidepress if in case you cannot make it. If you can make it, always kneel, always pray, always give gratitude to God. Kasi po, without God, we are nothing. Sa lahat po ng mga kadete, hindi po tayo magsabay-sabay na makapasa po. Sa lahat po na hindi po makapasa sa board examination, huwag kalimutan po, tayo po ay mga criminology cadets and we are trained to become mountains. And mountains do not bow down to little whispers of the wind. So if you fall down, what is your job? Our job is to get back up, shake off the dust, move on and move forward. Kasi po, kadete ka criminology, tatak criminology, pusong bato po tayo So kung ano mang mangyari, pasalamatan po natin ang Panginoon. Always trust God's timing. Ang episode na ito will concentrate on the remaining titles po sa Criminal Law Book. To yung Title 13, Title 12, 13 at saka 14. Kunti lang kasi yung mga krimen under these titles. Kaya po ilagay na lang po natin sa isang part or isang episode. Sa lahat po ng mga professors na nag-handle po ng Criminal Law Book 2, finally, available na po yung PDF copy of this subject. At the same time, pagka-post po tayo sa oras, available din po ang PowerPoint presentation. Sa video description, makikita nyo po yung pangalan ko. You can search me in Facebook or through Messenger. Doon po tayo mag-communicate para po ibigay ko po sa inyo yung PowerPoint presentation at saka yung PDF. In exchange of a minimal price, hindi po yan libre. Hindi po bero ang paggawa ng PowerPoint presentation at saka yung PDF. May minimal price po yan. So, it could be through GCash. Just communicate with me para ma-send ko po yung PowerPoint presentation at saka yung PDF. Now, without further ado, unahin natin Title 12. Okay? Title 12, Crimes Against the Civil Status of a Person. Unang krimen dito, simulation of birth, substitution of one's child for another, and concealment or abandonment of a legitimate child. Sa krimen po na ito, may tatlong acts that are punishable. Okay? Ano ba ang mga acts na ito? Number 1, simulation of birth. Okay? Paano ginagawa ang simulation of birth? It could be letter A. Ang isang bata, baptized. Okay? Baptized siya or niregistered siya sa registry of birth. Pwede doon sa local civil registrar as the offenders. Ibig sabihin yung bata, hindi ikaw yung biological parent. Pero ikaw yung nagpa-register doon sa local civil register to pretend that you are the biological parent. But in reality, you are not. Yun po ang ibig sabihin under paragraph A, simulation of birth. Okay, pangalawa, that the child loses its real status and acquires a new one. Of course, pag ikaw yung nagpe-pretend that you are the biological parent, mawala yung previous civil status niya. Imbis na yung apelido niya is De La Cruz, nilagyan mo ng ibang apelido. Ang new name niya is Rodriguez, yung family name. So, mawawala po yung previous status niya. The offender's purpose was to cause the loss of any traces to the child's true filiation. Ibig sabihin ng filiation, yung bloodline niya, yung blood relationship. Talagang mawala yan. Kasi nga po, hindi ikaw mismo yung biological parent. So, unang act dito, simulation of birth. Pangalawa, substitution of one child for another. Ito, nangyari ito sa ospital di ba? Usually, may mga documentary videos tayo. KMGS, tsaka yung ABS-CBN, pati yung GMA, nagre-report. Yung bata, pinalitan. There are a lot of cases na nangyayari, ang bata pinagpalit sa ibang bata. That's a crime under the law. Pangatlo, concealing or abandoning any legitimate child with the intent to cause such child to lose its civil status. Pero dito, ang requirement, dapat ang bata legitimate niya, ha? Ang talagang anak niya. The offender conceals or abandons such child. The offender has the intent to cause the child to lose its civil status. So ano ang mga example dito? Ito yung kadalasan nangyayari sa lipunan po natin. May mga babae po kasi naging buntis, became pregnant accidentally. Ngayon, dineliver yung bata. Pag-deliver sa bata, walang kapasidad, no financial viability, no financial capacity to raise the child. Knowing that raising the child requires or demands a considerable financial aspect, ang gagawin ng ina, ang mga balasubas na ina, iwanan yung bata, it could either be in the hospital, tapos natakas yung ina, or dalhin yung bata sa simbahan, doon iwanan sa simbahan, or worst ito, iwanan yung bata doon sa may damuhan, or doon sa sugarcane plantation, or worst pa, itapon yung bata doon sa ilog or doon sa riverbank. Nako, yan ang problema. Nangyari ba ito? It happened a lot of times. Diba? Maraming mga bata inabandona ng kanilang ina kasi po walang kapasidad. Kaya nga sa mga kadete po natin, dapat careful po tayo, ha? Dapat careful. I know na ang edad po, teens, mga teenagers, adolescents na stage, dito po yung talagang ang testosterone, yung aggressiveness po natin andyan, yung sexual impulses andyan po. Kung talagang hindi po kayang erase yung bata, nako, dapat you have to use contraceptive sa mga lalaki dyan. Dapat mag-ano kayo. Lagyan nyo ng rubber band para at least hindi kayo makapag-impregnate. Kayo naman mga babae, dapat ingat-ingatan nyo po yung bulkang mayon na yan. Kasi po, pag nagkataon, wala kayong kapasidad, nako, problema tayo dyan. Marami po ito, nangyayari po ito sa lipunan. So, pag isang bata, inabandona. O ito yung krimen na, ito po ang krimen na maging liability po ng isang babae. Okay? So, pangalawang krimen, itong tinatawag nating bigamy. Ito, topic po ito na makikita talaga sa table of specification. Diretso tayo sa different elements of bigamy. Unang elemento, that the offender has been legally married. Anong ibig sabihin ng legally married? Kailan po maging legal ang isang married? Or ang isang marriage pala? Kailan maging legal yung marriage? Diniscuss ko po ito sa juvenile delinquency. Unang requirement dyan, dapat may kontrata babae at lalaki. Hindi pwedeng lalaki versus lalaki. Or babae versus babae. Hindi po pwede yan. Kahit magpakasal ka ni Poncio Pilato, yung marriage na yan, hindi yan legal. Because hindi yan in accordance with the law. Pangalawa, it has to be with the solemnizing officer. Sino ba yung mga solemnizing officer? Yung pare, yung ministro, or yung pastor. Yung pastor dapat may may lisensya as a solemnizing officer. Pangatlo, dapat nasa tamang edad. Okay? Pag hindi nakaabot ng 18, ay nako, void ab initio yung marriage niya. Ibig sabihin, from the beginning, nullified po yan. Void po, invalid. Okay? So pag it is in accordance with the law, legal yung marriage na yan. Pangalawa, that the marriage has not been legally dissolved, or in case his or her spouse is absent, the absent spouse could not yet be presumed dead according to the civil code. O dalawa, una, hindi na-dissolve. Paano po ba ma-dissolve yung marriage natin sa Pilipinas? Isa lang po, annulment. Okay, pag na-annul yung marriage nyo, ibig sabihin, pwede ka na magpakasal uli sa ibang babae. Kasi dissolve na yan eh. Pangalawa, pwede pong ma-dissolve ang isang marriage pagpatay na. Okay? Dapat patay na. Pero pag hindi pa patay, naku, hindi pwede yan. Dapat patay na yung spouse, yung isang partner. Question, Sir, what if What if legal separation lang? Pwede bang magpakasal yung spouse pag legally separated sila in accordance to the order of the court? Ang sagot, hindi po. Pag legal separation, di po pwede kayong magpakasal uli sa ibang babae. Pero pag annulment, talagang void yan. Okay? So pag may order ng korte, voiding the marriage or nullifying the marriage, pwede po. Pero pag wala, talagang the marriage will still stand. Okay? Pangatlo, that he contracts a second or subsequent marriage. Ibig sabihin, yung spouse nagpakasal. Okay? Pangalawang pakasal niya sa ibang lalaki o sa isang babae. That the second or subsequent marriage has all the essential requisites for validity. Ibig sabihin ng essential requisites for validity, again, in accordance pa din po kung ano yung requirements sa isang valid na marriage. For example, married ka, ikaw si Juan, married ka ni Felicidad. Even if you are married with Felicidad, nakipagkuhabit ka ni Maria. Nagkontrata kayo, kumuha kayo ng solemnizing officer, nasa tamang edad kayo, nagpakasal kayo uli, you will be liable for bigamy. Pero, again, pag ang isang spouse is considered to be within the Muslim tradition, I repeat, pag nasa Muslim tradition po siya, ay dapat it has to be in accordance with the Muslim code, yung Sharia law. Remember, pag lalaki po, swerte pag Muslim. Kasi pwede po silang magpakasal so long as they can justify that they can financially support the different wives, they can be married for the maximum of 4 times. 4 na women, pwede po silang magpakasal. Under the Muslim traditions. Pero tayong mga Kristiyano, hindi naman tayo Muslim, ay nako, dapat 1:1 lang po siya. Okay? 1:1 lang ha. Sunod. Ang bigamy mga kadete, another thing that we have to remember also, ang bigamy po is not considered to be a private crime. Okay? Anong ibig sabihin ng private crime? Private crime, pag ikaw yung offended party, ikaw lang po yung mag-file. Ikaw yung mag-file ng kaso. Ang bigamy po, public crime po kasi siya. Public crime po yan, hindi po yan private. Ano ba ibig sabihin ng public crime? Private crime, pag ikaw yung offended, ikaw yung mag-file. Pero pag public, anybody could file. Okay? Anybody could file. Kasi nga po, public crime yan. So pag may mga taong concerned citizen, mag-file sila sa inyo ng bigamy. Pwede ba? Legal ba? Legal po. Pasado po. Kasi po, ang bigamy is considered to be a public crime. Next point. Ito po ang pinaka-last na point. Pag, let us say for example, si Juan, married siya ni Felicidad. Nakipagkontrata siya ni Maria, nagpakasal siya uli ni Maria. Okay? So, si Juan dito, he can be liable for bigamy. Pasok po, kasi subsequent marriage niya di pwede sa batas, unless if he is a Muslim. Pangalawa, pag si Juan po naging convicted na ng bigamy, pwede din po maging criminally liable siya sa tinatawag nating concubinage. Okay? Pwede siya sa concubinage, pero dapat natin tandaan lahat po ng requirements or requisites or elements ng concubinage dapat po present. Okay? Dapat po present. On the discussion of concubinage, nasa previous episode po. Okay? Sunod. Aside from bigamy, punta naman tayo sa Title 13. Yun lang, 2 krimen lang ang diniscuss ko. Ang makikita sa board examination, yung bigamy. Makikita din po yan sa table of specification. So punta na tayo dito sa Title 13. Itong crimes against honor. Ang pinakasikat na krimen dito, itong tinatawag nating libel at saka slander. Okay? Unahin natin itong libel. Persons liable, the persons who publishes. Ano ibig sabihin ng published? Ibig sabihin, it could be in writing. Okay? Writing. You published it online. Or you publish it in a newspaper or through any kind of media outlets. Okay? Pwede yan. Exhibits or causes the publication or exhibition of any defamation in writing or similar. Okay, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng defamation? By the way, mga kadete, ang defamation po, yun po ang proper term natin sa libel, ha? I repeat, defamation is the proper term for libel. Now, ano ba ang ibig sabihin ng defamation? Ang defamation, ibig sabihin, ito yung mga acts po that will injure the person's character, yung fame niya, yung dignidad niya, yung reputation niya. What is the method of injuring the character or the reputation of the person? Through false or malicious statements. Mali-mali eh. Walang katotohanan. O yun po. Paano ma-injured yung reputation niya or yung personality niya? By spreading false rumors or by giving false or malicious statements against somebody. Okay, yun po, defamation yan. Pangalawa, the author or editor of a book or pamphlet, the editor or business manager of daily newspaper, magazine, or serial publication, the owner of the printing plant, publishes a libelous article with his consent, and all other persons who in any way participate or in or have connection with publication. For short, pag isang statement is considered to be malicious, lahat po na nag-participate, lahat po na accountable, pwede po maging liable under the libel. Kahit ikaw lang yung owner, for example, ikaw yung owner ng ABS-CBN, ikaw din po pagiging liable ka ng libel. Okay? Ikaw yung editor-in-chief, tapos yung reporter mo nag-publish, hindi mo chinek yung validity nito. You can also be liable for libel. Okay? So, pag libel mga kadete, ang tandaan po natin, in writing po ito ha. It could be in writing. Alright? So, if somebody posted something in Facebook of a libelous remark, ang mangyari dyan, pwede ka po makikiha ng electronic libel. Okay? Or you put it or you write it in newspaper, you can also be liable for libel. Or you are reporting in a media outlet, nagre-report ka, kasali din po, libel pa din po. Okay? Then, the last thing that we have to remember here, under the crime of libel, to presume publication under number 1 ha, may nakalagay dyan, publication, diba? To presume publication po, dapat ang libelous statement must be exposed to be read or seen by a third person. Anong ibig sabihin ng third person mga kadete? Unang persona, yung ikaw na nag-publish. Pangalawang persona, yung person that you attack in writing. Pangatlong persona, yung reader. Okay? Una, ikaw na nagsulat. Pangalawa, yung inatake mo. Pangatlo, yung nagbasa. Yun po ang third person. So, ibig sabihin, pag wala namang, let us say, it's just a communication between you and the guy that you attack in writing. Hindi naman nakita yung writing mo by a third person, wala pa ding libel. Dapat po may makabasa. Kasi pag walang makabasa, pag wala namang reader, nobody read that malicious or libelous statement, ay hindi po pasado sa libel. Pero, granting na isinulat mo sa newspaper, granting that you post it in Facebook, pasok, automatic yan. Natural, may mga friends ka eh. Social media yan eh. Okay? Pag newspaper, distribute yan eh. So basically, presumption nga na talagang may makabasa, may third person. Pero if it is just a text between you and the other guy, dalawa lang, ikaw first person, siya yung pangalawang person, may libel ba? Wala naman nakabasa. Ang sagot, wala. Dapat may makabasa. Okay? Third person. Pag ang libel in writing, ito namang slander through oral or verbal. Kaya ang slander, tinatawag din po siyang oral defamation. Okay? Ang oral defamation or slander, libel pa din po yan, pero through verbal. Okay? Through verbal po. Or by speaking. Okay? Dalawang kinds po ang oral defamation natin. Una, yung grave slander. Pangalawa, yung simple slander. Okay? Pag seryoso and insulting in nature, magiging grave slander yan. Pero pag light insult lang or defamation, magiging simple slander lang po. Let's say for example, yung words uttered during the heat of anger, nagagalit ka, you can state words, di ba? That will constitute light oral defamation. Factors that determine gravity of the offense. Paano po malaman natin kung light ba or grave? Una, yung expression being used. Okay? Now, dito dapat tayo dapat careful tayo. Kasi nga po, may mga tao po na ang expression nila are considered to be expletives. Di ba may masasabi putang ina mo or FU, di ba? Sabihin, di ba? FU or putang ina mo. That's a normal expression. Normal lang po 'yan. So pag ang expression niya yung mga ganyan po or employed, hindi po siya ma-considered to be slanderous. Okay? Okay, it is just something uttered in order to express anger or displeasure. Okay, yung mga expression na yan, tangina mo, di ba? Hindi naman yun po yan slanderous. It's just an expression. Hindi po pasok yan sa slander or oral defamation. There is oral defamation if other persons or not offended party heard the slanderous words because a person's reputation is the estimate in which others hold him. Anong ibig sabihin dyan sa explanation na? Ibig sabihin, kahit hindi mo narinig yung slanderous statement, pwede din pong makapag-file ng kaso na slander. Example, si Felicidad at saka si Maria, mga chismosa, mga marites, ang chinichismis nila na ikaw daw ay magnanakaw kahit hindi naman totoo. Diba? Pag hindi totoo yan, kahit hindi ka nakarinig, after finding out later na pinagchichismis ka na ikaw po ay magnanakaw, you can file a slander. Okay? Kahit you did not personally heard the communication between the two persons. So, huwag kalimutan pag verbal, by speaking, slander or oral defamation. But if it is in writing, through media, it could be through painting, it could be through theatrical acts, okay, sa theaters, pwede din po sa media, nagre-report sa ABS-CBN, GMA, blah, 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 pwede din po libel. Pero pag mere speaking by somebody to the other person, and that manner of speaking constitute slanderous remarks or yung mga false accusation that will destroy the reputation and dignity of a person, pasok po siya sa oral defamation or slander. Okay? May tinatawag din po tayong slander by deed. Okay? Ito mga kadete, sa oral defamation or slander lang, you just basically speak, okay? You just speak slanderous remarks. Dito, you do not just speak slanderous remarks, but you perform something. Okay? Tingnan muna natin yung elements. That the offender performs any act not included in any other crime against honor, that such act is performed in the presence of other persons, that such act dishonor, discredit, or contempt upon the offended party. Seriousness of slander by deed depends on the social standing of the offended party, the circumstances surrounding the act, the occasion. By the way, punta muna ako sa pinakalasta. Ang slander by deed kasi may dalawang types yan. Simple slander by deed at saka yung grave slander by deed, yung seryoso in nature. Una, yung simple slander by deed. Pangalawa, yung grave slander by deed. Ang basihan po sa seriousness of the slander by deed would be on the nature or the background of the offended party. Kung sino. Pag professional yan, pasok ka sa grave. Okay? Pag public official yan, pasok ka sa grave. Okay? For example, let us say, pinahiya mo isang teacher. Sinabihan mo na ang teacher is magnanakaw. O isang teacher corrupt, kahit hindi naman totoo, marami pong nakarinig. So basically, pasok yan sa grave. Pero pag background naman is an ordinary guide, pasok po siya sa simple. Okay? So, ang sabi ko po kanina sa slander by deed, sa slander by deed, you used speaking, verbal, and then you add it with an act that is considered to be something that will provide contempt on the offended party. Let us say, for example, sinabihan mo na corrupt ka, tapos nag-middle finger ka, Brad. Nag-middle finger ka, or hindi ka pa nakontento, sinabihan mo corrupt ka, sinampal mo in the public. Okay? Pag sinampal mo yan, nako, napahiya yan doon sa publiko. Slapping is considered to be slander by deed. Okay? Or pag may ano yan, pag when you slap the pero sinampal mo, tapos nag-pass out yung biktima, nako, hindi lang slander by deed, baka may physical injury pang kasama. Di ba? O pwede po, slight physical injury ang i-file sa offender. So, depende po yan sa circumstances. But the point here is that, pag napahiya siya sa publiko, ang punto dito hindi yung injury muna, yung honor niya. Okay? Yung honor niya, napahiya siya. Okay? Napahiya siya in the public. Sinampal mo, basically, pasok yan sa slander by deed. Or yung isang motorista na babae na talagang gaga naman. Di ba? Walang side mirror. Di ba? Wala siyang side mirror. Ang binigyang sala niya, ang inaccuse niya na may sala, yung pong mayaman talaga. Mayaman pala na driver. Anong ginawa niya? Di ba? Nag-middle finger siya. Nag-middle finger, ang lakas ng loob kasi may mga kasamahan Napahiya yung tao, di ba? May kasamahan ng isang babae, nag-middle finger siya. Hindi naman maganda. So, pwede po, pasok yan sa slander by deed. Pointing a dirty finger, yung nag-middle finger ka. Okay? Pero, again, just like what I stated a while ago, pag nag-ifyo siya, nagtangina siya, or kung ano mga expression ang ginagawa niya, and that expression has been considered to be part of his normal dialect, hindi naman intended to dishonor, to discredit, or to contempt somebody, hindi pa din po magiging slander by deed. Okay? Diba? Usually sa taga Manila, diba, normal lang sa inyo yung magtangina kayo, diba? Mga tangina, diba? Tangina kayo. Yung mga tangina na yan, if it is a normal expression, it will not constitute a crime. Okay? So long as it will not dishonor, discredit, or contempt the offended party. Okay? Next. Kanina na-mention po na in slander by deed, dapat may contempt. Ano ibig sabihin ng contempt? In Cebuano, we call that one as kaligot-got or kalagot. Okay? In Tagalog, ibig sabihin ng contempt, yung nagalit ka. Okay? Nagalit ka, that cause you to become an angry person. That provides anger on your part. Pero, iba po ang slander by deed compared to unjust vexation. Sa unjust vexation kasi, you contempt somebody, you irritate somebody, you annoy somebody without justification. For example, yung mga prank na yan. Diba? Nag-prank ka sa isang tao, sinabihan mo may bomba, but in reality, wala. Or you pretend that somebody will assassinate that person, nag-ano yung tao? Na-annoy, but by your prank, okay? Being annoyed, pwede pong mag-file siya ng unjust vexation. Sa slander by deed, you annoyed somebody, you irritate somebody, and that irritation or annoyance is something that destroys his reputation, his personality, or his fame, or his honor. Yun po ang pagkakaiba. Dito sa unjust vexation, wala namang honor, wala namang reputation, ang dinidestroy. Pero pag may reputation na dinidestroy by spreading false rumors or false or malicious statements against somebody, magiging slander magiging slander po yan. Okay? Sunod. Slander by deed, irritation or annoyance, ito pa ang ibig sabihin ko kanina, unjust vexation, slander by deed, yun po ang pagkakaiba. Then pangatlo, acts of lasciviousness. Sa acts of lasciviousness, klarong-klaro yan, sexual in nature po ito. Na-irritate yung tao, na-annoyed yung tao, plus yung mga circumstances provided in 335. Use of force or intimidation, deprivation of reason or rendering the offended unconscious, or if the offended party was under 12 years old, together with lewd design. Okay? So, sa acts of lasciviousness, usually sexual in nature, ha? Sa slander by deed, may irritation, may annoyance, tapos ang target nito to cause dishonor against somebody. Sa unjust vexation, nag-irritate ka, na-annoy without any justification at all. Yun po ang isa sa mga distinction. Another distinction, mga kadete, is on slander, tsaka yung intriguing against honor. Slander tsaka intriguing against honor muna. Ang pinagkaiba nito, mga kadete, pag slander, ang offender, ikaw mismo, ang offender siya mismo ang nag-utter or nag-spread ng false rumors. Or siya mismo ang nagbitiw ng malicious statements. Ang nagpasa, ikaw yung marites na pinapasa mo yung slanderous statement na yan from one person to the other. Liable ka po sa tinatawag nating intriguing against honor. The source of the defamatory utterance is unknown, and the offender simply repeats or passes the same to blemish the honor or reputation of another. O, ikaw yung marites dito. For example, ang nagbigay ng slanderous statement, sabi ni Maria, "Hoy, si Felicidad, ano yan? Pukpok yan." But in reality, hindi naman. Si Maria is liable for slander. Ikaw naman, na pumasa, you cascade the false rumor from one person to the other, magiging liable ka sa intriguing against honor. Pero yung primary individual who spread the rumor, who uttered the false statement, siya po, liable siya ng slander. Okay? Next, itong incriminating innocent person. Offender performs an act by which he directly incriminates or imputes an innocent person to the commission of a crime. Ano ibig sabihin dito? Ibig sabihin, you tend to connect somebody, you tend to link or accuse somebody of committing a crime where in fact, in reality, talagang inosente po ang tao na yan. Okay? So, ang punishment niya, magiging liable siya under this crime incriminating innocent person. Kailan po ito mangyayari? Again, pag you tend to accuse or you tend to link or to associate somebody in the commission of a certain crime, but in reality, that person was not into that particular crime, he was just considered to be innocent. You just spread false rumor, false accusation that he committed it, but in reality, he did not. O, yun po ang ibig sabihin ng incriminating innocent person. So pag krimen, you incriminate somebody, yan po ang liability, incriminating innocent person. Hindi po pwedeng slander. Okay? Sa slander, any kind of statement. Ang incriminating innocent person, technically speaking, libelous pa din po, slander pa din po. Pero specific siya kasi po krimen. You accuse somebody of committing a crime. In reality, he did not commit. Okay? Pero other types of accusations like you accuse somebody that he is a corrupt person, he is a pokpok, he is a magnanakaw, papasok yan doon sa slander. Yung yung another person who passed, yung marites, na pinapasa-pasa yung mga slanderous statements, maging liable siya sa krimen na intriguing against honor. I hope naintindihan mga kadete, ha. Sunod, pinakalas itong quasi-offenses. Okay? Bakit quasi? Kasi semi. Depende yan eh. Pwede maging krimen, pwede maging hindi. Okay? It can be committed in 4 ways. Number 1, committing through reckless imprudence in act which had it been intentional would constitute a grave or less grave felony or light felony. Okay, for example, pag mag-harvest ka ng sugarcane, alam mo naman na talagang it's a windy season, may hanging amihan, nag-harvest ka ng sugarcane, ang ginawa mo, you set the sugarcane on fire. Ito ba kasi normal ito sa mga taga Luzon, ha? And some portions of Mindanao, dito sa Visayas, sa Negros Oriental particularly, at saka sa Occidental, ang pinaka-common po dito na produkto is sugarcane. Pag nasa far-flung areas po yan, ang ginagawa po ng mga farmer, they have to set the sugarcane on fire. Kasi po ang sugarcane, may itchy stuff po yan, makati. May itchy stuff po yan, that if your skin is in contact with that itchy stuff, talagang mangangati ka all night. So, ang gagawin ng farmers to avoid it, they have to set the sugarcane on fire. Now, pag amihan niya, alam mo na may adjacent house. Alam mo na may adjacent house. At saka yung wind direction, paiba-iba, but still you set the sugarcane on fire. Ang nangyari, the fire conflagrated to the house. The house was burned into ashes. Kahit walang namatay. Ang tawag po dyan, hindi naman po pwede mag-file ng arson kasi hindi po intentional. In Cebuano, dangag-ragyud ka. Dinangag ba? In Tagalog, talagang walang ingat. Hindi ka nag-iingat. You could have avoided it, pero hindi ka nag-iingat. Walang ingat. Okay? So, pwede po, magiging liable ka ng reckless imprudence. Okay? Ang reckless imprudence po, quasi-offenses po yan, or quasi-offense. Pangalawa, by committing through simple imprudence or negligence, an act which would otherwise constitute a grave or less serious felony. May kapababayaan ka. May kapabayaan ka. Let us say, for example, you are renting a boarding house. Alam mo ng isang heater, ang heater mo hindi siya automatic, yung classical, conventional na heater that it will keep on heating kahit naubos na yung tubig sa heater, it will still keep on heating. If you will not turn it off, it will melt and then it will cause fire. So, dangag may imprudence, may kapabayaan on your part. You do not attend on your responsibility in turning off the heater and it causes fire. Pwede ka pong liable pa din po ng quasi-offense. Okay? Quasi-offense na ito. Reckless imprudence. Number 3, by causing damage to the property of another through reckless imprudence or simple imprudence or negligence. And number 4, by causing through simple imprudence or negligence some wrong which, if done maliciously, would have constituted a light failure. So the bottom line here is that, mga kadita sa quasi-offense is very simple. Pag may kapabayaan po, pag may recklessness, talagang walang ingat, mayroong negligence on the part of the person in the performance of the act that constitute a crime, mayroon po siyang criminal liability. Okay? Pero pag wala naman, let us say for example, yung wiring mo, nag-arcing, okay? Arcing between positive and negative wires. Ang nangyari, it caused spark and fire. And then the building was caught into fire. Wala po tayong criminal liability kasi nga po, pure accidents naman yan. Okay? Pero pag may dinangag, pag may recklessness or negligence, doon po, papasok yung liability. Ano ang pagkakaiba between reckless imprudence and force majeure? Ang force majeure, ito yung mga event that cannot be predicted or inevitable po. For example, pag may earthquake, you cannot actually tell pag magkaroon po ng mga earthquake. So, talagang ano po yan, cannot be foreseen. Implies an extraordinary circumstance independent of will of actor. Pero pag reckless imprudence naman, preventable siya. Okay? Preventable siya pag nag-iingat ka, pag may reasonable care. Pero pag hindi ka nag-iingat, kaya nga, nagkakaroon ng damage to somebody kasi wala kang ingat, negligent ka or reckless ka on your part. Pero sa force majeure, talagang there is no such thing as prevention. There is no such thing as pag-iingat. Mangyayari yan. Usually, it applies to natural disasters like earthquake, volcanic eruption, mga force majeure yan. Pero itong nagda-drive ka, you're a driver, and then wala kang ingat, nakabangga ka, pasok yan doon sa reckless imprudence. Okay? Aside from that, we also have the emergency rule under the quasi-offense. A person confronted with emergency may be left with no time for thought, must make speedy decision based on impulse or instinct, and cannot be held liable. Ibig sabihin nito sa emergency rule dapat wala na pong time para sa isang tao to think or to select or to rationalize dapat gagawa siya ng speedy decision. Example, nilagyan ko na po, a driver who, by the negligence of another, is suddenly placed in an emergency and compelled to act instantly to avoid a collision or injury is not guilty of negligence if he makes a choice which a person of ordinary prudence placed in such a position might make, even though he did not make the wisest choice. Let us say, for example, let's say driver ka, let us say may paparating na isang car towards your direction. Okay? So, pag hindi ka magbe-brake, magbanggaan kayo. So, ang ginawa, in order to avoid it, you make a sudden brake. Pagbigay mo ng sudden brake, may natutulog pala sa passenger seat. Sudden brake eh. So, nauntog yung ulo niya doon sa isang metal. Sa isang metal ng sasakyan. So, it caused injury on the forehead of the person. Maybe it caused hematoma, so on and so forth. So, yung pag-cause ng hematoma, is caused basically on what we call under the emergency rule. So, pwede pong hindi maging liable. Kahit hindi wise yung pag-sudden brake, kasi po yung mga passenger, mauntog yung ulo nila. But then again, it is something that is made out of speedy decision kasi wala na po talagang oras to rationalize on what particular option the driver should have been resorted into. So talagang wala nang oras, has to make a sudden break, nauntog yung ulo ng isang tao, pasok po siya sa tinatawag nating emergency rule. Okay? Again, ang hazing mga kadete, kasali po ito sa table of specification. Ang hazing po, regulated po yan sa batas na tinatawag nating Republic Act number 11053. Huwag niyo pong kalimutan na, baka lalabas yan. Anti-Hazing Act of 2018, Republic Act number 11053. Ano ba ang hazing? Ang hazing would refer to any acts, kahit anong acts that can constitute pwedeng physical harm or psychological harm against somebody. That somebody could be number one, pwede siya newly recruit. Or pangalawa, yung baguhan, yung neophyte. Pangatlo, yung aplikante. Or yung bagong miyembro. The physical harm or the psychological harm against these persons in a form of an initiation. Paano ba gagawin yung initiation? Una, pwedeng paddling. Marami na pong namamatay dyan sa paddling na yan. Pwedeng whipping or beating or branding. Itong branding mga kadite, I still remember, parang piso yun eh. Yung piso, inilagay doon sa fire. Once it becomes red hot, kukunin yung piso. Tapos it has to be in contact with the skin of the newly member. Ay, nako, of course, it can cause burn. Parang parang brand, parang trademark daw yun. Branding or forced calisthenics. I have to be clear with this, mga kadete. Pag ang exercises natin, for example, sa Armed Forces of the Philippines, PMA, Philippine National Police Academy, PNP, or sa mga sorority, sa mga eskwelahan, having agility activities, okay lang po yan pagpasok po sa standards po natin. Okay? Pagpasok siya under the legal standards, nako, pwede lang po yan. Push up, pull up, nagja-jogging kayo, walang problema yan. Pero, ang problema pag ang calisthenics ay hindi na po naaayon sa batas, sa standard. Like say for example, yung pinaka-common nyo dyan yung sa Philippine National Police, I hope nawala na po ito. Yung laway ng isang tao, pag opisyal ka, they have to spit pag instructor ka sa training. Yung laway nyo will be put in a glass and somebody will drink it as a form of initiation. Or, paparating na yung bagong miyembro ng Philippine National Police, magdikdik kayo ng sili, di ba? Pinaka-common yan. Sili. Tapos, yung isang galon ng sili, pinainom sa mga newly recruits. Is it in accordance with the law? Talagang i-improve ba ang agility ng isang tao pag pinainom mo ng sili? Ay, nako. Talagang wala ba? Wala sa standard na. Okay lang po yung calisthenics. Do not make, I hope I am not confusing anybody. Calisthenics is okay, it is in accordance. Pero pag hindi na po yan naayon kung ano yung standard, pinahubad nyo, naked yung isang tao, nilagyan nyo ng sili yung ari niya as a form of initiation ay, hindi na yan pwede, Brad. Exposure to the weather. Let us say, umuulan, 24 hours, nilagay mo doon sa open space. First consumption of any food. Yung food dito, usually sa initiation hindi naman luto, or worst, may tinatawag tayong pass the candy. Ito, nangyari ito sa mga recruitment pass the candy. The candy has been in the mouth of one person, and then it has to be passed with the other guy, and the other guy will pass it to the other guy. Talagang wala sa standard na. First consumption of any food, liquor, beverage, drug, or other substance, or any brutal treatment or forced physical activity, which is likely to adversely affect the physical and psychological health of such recruit, neophyte applicant, or member. Magiging, ang mga acts na ito, pasok na pasok po sa hazing. I hope ma-change po natin yung kultura po sa Philippine National Police Academy at saka yung sa PMA na talagang may a lot of records of persons who have been victimized by hazing. Okay? Let us just perform activities that are in accordance to the standards. Okay? Ang problema kasi dito, if pag higher rank ka kasi, let's say nasa first class ka, paparating na yung fourth class, may attitude kasi that I have to tell everybody na ako na yung nasa first class, na ako yung officer, that you have to respect me. May mga attitude kasi na mga ganyan, very condescending attitude sa mga Pinoy. So I hope we avoid that so that we can be incongruent with what is considered to be the standard in shaping the physical aspect of the applicant or the newly recruit. Okay? So yan na po mga kaniti, ang lahat po ng mga topics under Criminal Law Book 2. I really tried my best. To delay. Hindi po ako lawyer. I have to inform everybody. But I really tried my best to make everybody understand the crimes that can be found in the revised penal code. And I hope I was able to contribute something in your intellectual improvement or your intellectual journey. And I really hope that this contribution will not be in vain, and you can utilize my contribution to make our society a better place to live in. Maraming salamat po for joining with me in all of the episodes in Criminal Law Book 2. Maraming salamat. Mag-ingat po ang lahat. God bless. God bless everyone.